Matthew 5:14 and 16 remind us, "You are the light of the world. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good works and give glory to our Father in heaven." St. Jesus, you are the light of the world. Indeed, you have been a light for many in this past year, the year of the vid. Where do I even begin? It seems simultaneously both like yesterday and ages ago that we received notice from the diocesan office instructing us to suspend in-person worship and to close church facilities due to the arrival of COVID-19. I, for sure, did not think we would still be closed today, almost 1 year later. And yet, here we are. No church gatherings or large gatherings of any kind for that matter, still being challenged to keep our hearts open to the day when we will be fully gathered together as a community, challenged to keep our faith alive, individually and collectively. Hope and concerns about COVID-19, the vaccination and all that it accompanies are still a part of everyday conversation. Yes, the vid has tested and continues to test our faith and our resolve. And some of us are tired. Some of us are frustrated, no doubt. Some of us are still anxious or discouraged, despondent, disinterested in what's happening or even in the church at this point, or all of the above. I get it. Some of us may have felt that it's too much restriction, too much uncertainty, too much fuss. Why are our doors still closed? We are wide-eyed wanderers, eager to return to normalcy and to our church family. I get it. Others of us may have felt as if we weren't doing enough as a church, not enough outreach, not enough care, not enough programs, not enough spark or activities to bring and to keep our families together. We are restless and faithful warriors, ready to march on. Bring it on. Let's move on. I assure you, I get it. Hard times need hope-filled Christians, and that is not always easy, my friends. To have hope when things seem hopeless. And yet, all was not daunting or lost in 2020. What I found most intriguing, and I will continue to say, is our resilience and strength as individuals and a spiritual community. We were resilient. Now, at times, that resilience seemed only like a mirage, an expression, I say, or a personification of duck syndrome. Smooth and poised movement on top of the water, but flapping and flailing vigorously beneath the surface of the water just to stay afloat. Thankfully, resilience is not known for its good looks, but rather its grit and gravitas, its persistence and perseverance, its ability to show up and show out when necessary. That, my friends, is what I continue to experience with our beloved St. Jesus. That is not a bromide, a trite remark intended to soothe you. That is truth. And here's how I know. Well, that was Bishop Sutton's observation of our church when he made his official visit to us on February 23rd of 2020. He was delighted, overjoyed by what he experienced as a church filled with warmth and strength. And on that visit, he also confirmed 6 young adult members of the church. We were on the move. We were ready to embrace 2020. And as usual, we marched forward, and on Shrove Tuesday, we held our annual pancake supper, had a wonderful mini skit and fashion show, and we lit the old palms in preparation for Ash Wednesday. During Lent, we also began our weekly gathering for soup and study. We began to study the miracles of Jesus. when a great wind arose, the wind of COVID-19, and we began to wonder if God would perform a miracle to calm the storm. Alas, the study was halted 2 weeks in. Our Sunday in-person services were also paused until further notice. But after a 2-week break, with the help of Steve Blag and Robin Nolan, the Rector's warden, we labored faithfully to keep members connected to our church virtually. In March, we began video recording Sunday services in the sanctuary. It was later suggested that we do so live for greater interaction and to be more consistent with the spirit of St. G's. I wanted to see your face and you wanted to see my handsome face. And so we went live. The first YouTube attempt, I'll admit, was a flop, a failure, but we were still learning. Since then, we got it together as we know how to do here at St. G's. And we have been rolling, I tell you. Thanks to Teresa and Thomas Batone for donating the equipment and extending our internet feed to the church and outside, thereby enabling us to go live. Live Sunday services via Zoom and Facebook were begun in June and continue to this day. Consequently, we have entered the homes of so many people, people we never thought would enter the doors of this noble facility. God is still moving, and I am forever grateful. Many thanks to some of our young people, Dubem and Rowan, who also assisted with the live recording. While acknowledging the need to be physically distant due to the extreme risks of the COVID-19 pandemic, we recognize that we are not called or destined to be socially or spiritually disconnected. We developed a reopening plan for the parish, which was approved by the diocese in July. Subsequently, we started live services outside, in strict accordance with diocesan guidelines, in person, Mass on the grass. It lit a fire, and I saw the life of St. G's once again. People moving about, talking and communicating, albeit at a distance. This was a great success, and on occasion, more than 40 families invariably attended. Our able people's warden, Kieran, Mark, Lucas, and others organized and arranged the setup week in and week out. It was a work of art and a wonder and joy to see. Ralph, our musician, was able to join us in the summer. And during that time, Steve Blag and Allegra Simonet kept the lector schedule and the lectors on track. Altar Guild members kept the altar ready and the vestments current with the liturgical season. And our in-house florist, Emily, ensured that we had flowers almost every week. Fresh flowers, that is. Well, we were enjoying and we were rolling. But unfortunately, we live in a state that experiences all 4 seasons. And due to weather, we finally had to return to worship indoors. But soon was shut down once again due to a spike in COVID-19 cases. But while physically absent from church in the earlier months, we also held a few Zoom meetings for parishioners to gather and check in. Vestry members also made several phone calls to keep in touch with parishioners. A select group of parishioners worked diligently to recruit and hire a new parish administrator in August. We thus bade farewell to a dedicated, warm, and easy-mannered parish administrator, namely Joanne O'Brien, and welcomed aboard another even-keeled, poised, and willing servant of Christ, Linda Atwater, who was doing well. Many thanks to everyone on that committee who assisted with this effort. We also bade farewell to Andy Cunningham, our people's warden, who moved to Ohio. Andy's mild-mannered and welcoming presence will be missed, but I suspect he will have a really loving time in Ohio. We are forever grateful for all of Andy's contributions and support over these past few years. As God always provides, another very capable, congenial, and knowledgeable individual, Kieran Worth, gladly accepted, or more rightly, under slight coercion from someone who shall remain nameless, humbly accepted the position of People's Warden. It's his element, and we are happy to have him. We also welcomed a new treasurer in the person of Teresa Batoon, who is doing a fantastic job, and Nick Warden, our registrar. My heartfelt thanks to Mike Ritter, who still serves as our assistant treasurer. Mike did an awesome job and has kept us transparent and honest in our finances. We very much appreciate you, Mike, and thank your family for lending you to us for these past 5 years. During the year, we also opened our doors to opportunities for a greater presence in the community. We rented our facilities to Berry Patch Early Learning Center. Although their stay was short, we look forward and are in continued conversation with them about further partnership opportunities. Thank you, Berry Patch, for seeking out St. G's and for renting our facilities. Thanks too to our able and capable senior warden, Rector's warden, that is, Robin Nolan. We also partnered with the UCC Church and helped the children to a church or treat just before Halloween. Again, a great success. Of course, our book club remains steady, though we meet virtually, and we also invited Terry Smith, who performs a bit of yoga just before we get in the mood of talking and discussing topics from the book for that week. We also had a new family join the church, the Ergo family, mom, dad, and 2 beautiful daughters, who had visited us some time back early in 2020 and then saw us on Facebook and decided to become a part of our congregation. We cannot wait until our doors reopen so that they can be a part of this vibrant community. Growth still happens, even in wilderness experiences. That's what that tells me. Although our facilities were closed once again and remain currently closed due to the extreme risk category of the COVID pandemic, we sought opportunities to bring us together. One example of that was the Christmas album, which was done fabulously well. It was a great success. Thank you to our able-bodied Steve Blag, who seems to do everything around here. Moreover, the children's pageant was a great success. Thank you, Joan Prate. Thank you, Ralph. And it was viewed almost 800 times on Facebook.
Promised to marry a man named Joseph. Joseph was a carpenter by trade. He was a descendant from the house of David. When he learned that Mary was with a child, he was confused. Then an angel appeared to Joseph who said,
Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, because the child she is carrying is from God. You are to name the child Jesus, which means the one who saves.
Joseph loved and trusted God. He loved Mary too. So he said, may God's will be done. And so Mary and Joseph got ready to have the baby. But one day,
I am convinced that this church is still on the move. Yes, many of our plans were foiled, and yes, we still have a long way to go, and yes, we still have our struggles. But I witnessed the countless ways you employed your talents and resources for the mission of this church, the wider church, in support of each other and our neighbors. Through it all, it has been a great joy to see your perseverance and fortitude, to see and witness your resilience. Even when our church buildings closed, your hearts and pockets remained open. Your care and concern for others remained steadfast, and you worshiped consistently online. During Advent, we also had a guest preacher who preached a series on the themes of Advent, Father David Stenner, who is no stranger to us. and we are grateful for his wisdom and insight shared with us. He also visited us early just before the pandemic and led our vestry retreat, giving us much to think about and inspiring us to redefine our vision, only to put things on hold, however, until COVID-19 is under control. So we ask, what's next? Virtual worship will continue, that we know, until we can gather safely in our church for worship. And once we can, our services will continue to be streamed online as they are now, so that everyone can be there to worship, and we can continue to bring people into the fold, even if only virtually. We will have intermittent gatherings, albeit socially distancing until then. I am also inviting the parish to join me in a 40-day prayer campaign during Lent. It will be called On Your Knees with St. G's, praying for growth, regathering our vision and the people of our church. My hope and focus is for us moving forward to increase our family count by 5 families each year over the next 5 years. Lofty, but certainly not undoable. And it starts with prayer. We are called to be fishers of men, fishers of people, and I invite us all to join in that effort. Sheep bring sheep. Shepherd can't do it alone. On your knees with St. G's. Also, let's start calling people we have not seen show up to church or we haven't seen online, and let's invite them and encourage them to join and to be present when we return in person. We will also have a 5-week webinar on well-being in lieu of our weekly Lenten study during Lent. I will say more about these activities in our upcoming newsletter. Despite our growth, despite our resilience, we had some loss in 2020. We had some thievery, which forced us to establish a mailbox system. But more importantly, we also lost 2 of our dear and long-standing parishioners, Emily Durham and Margaret Gert Noel. Gert was a graceful lady with a quiet assertion and determination that drew you into her presence and implicitly told you much about her inner strength and character. Indeed, she was a wonderful mother and wife, and her quiet tenderness, graciousness, and warmth made people feel at ease in her presence. Emily, perhaps a bit more talkative than Gert, was a matriarch in our church. Indeed, she and her late husband Norman were founding members, and their many and diverse contributions helped to build our church. Emily was a woman of strength and character. She was strong-willed and had a strong faith, strong marriage, strong family life, strong friendships, and a strong sense of self. She and Gert were both kind-hearted women of commitment, and we will miss them. We also bade farewell to one of our consistent visitors, another gentle, sweet, and supportive lady, Barbara Christopher, who's the mother of our own Mike Christman. May they all rest in peace. As I close, I want to extend thanks to all of you for your undying support. To all involved, the wardens, the vestry, the lay leaders, the parishioners, the musicians, I say thank you. Words cannot express how appreciative I am of all that you have done and continue to do for this church and for God. I also remind you of words from my stewardship letter. The year 2020 has brought with it many challenges that have altered how and where we were able to work, eat, gather, serve, and worship. It has truly tested our stewardship and sought to dim our light. But despite the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, social and political unrest, economic uncertainty, our faith was not and cannot and will not be dampened. Through it all, I believe we gained and will continue to gain a deeper sense of what it means to be the church, an expression of God's love in the community. I hope by the power of our resilience and by the grace of God, we will continue to be that church, the expression of God's love in this community. You are the light, and the light on a hilltop cannot be hidden. Let's continue to be the light of the world, said Jesus. God bless you all, and let's have a wonderful and beautiful 2021. Amen.